Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, morons. If you're familiar to the channel, I like to call people morons because I'm a moron, where everyone's a moron. Got a little strong zeros here, and I got Bob Saget in the background there. Just a little story for you, very short one. It's taken me a while to fiddle with this new microphone camera setup, but anyway, it's almost midnight. Yeah, 11:30, 11:20 on a Tuesday night, and Bob Saget died a couple days ago. Some of you know that I've dabbled in stand-up comedy. I really love the art. It's because you don't know if you're not American, it's one of the few things that we Americans can be proud of, especially these days. Yeah, I think everyone will agree with that, no matter what side of the political spectrum you fall on. But America's known to have only two original, unlike Japan where I live, America has only two original art forms, or art forms that have originated from America solely. One of those is jazz, not rock. One of them is jazz, and one of them is stand-up comedy. Now here in Japan they have something called manzai, and they have comedians, but nothing like that. They have a lot of slapstick here, but nothing like stand-up comedy. I've always I've always enjoyed comedians. When I was in high school, I was really, everyone did their own Eddie Murphy, homophobic Eddie Murphy impressions, you know. That'll show you how dated I am, but I listened to Bill Cosby as well, growing up on records, and I was a big fan. Oh, George Carlin, oh my God. I was a big fanboy of George Carlin. I saw him live a couple times. I was actually disappointed because I had seen George Carlin on his HBO specials years and years ago. And then I went with my whole family to see him live, and it was like the same exact thing. And in those days, I didn't realize that a lot of stand-up comedy is, one of the most difficult things about stand-up comedy is the fact that you have to like hone an act or a routine that you do by repeating it over and over until it's perfect. And George Carlin was one of the best. I got to say, of all the comedians, I think he's the most difficult. He was the best, honestly. I wouldn't say he's the most naturally talented, but he's the one who really wrote and found, made amazing observations and really turned them into art, pieces of art. Of course, everyone loves Dave Chappelle these days, but one of the first comedians that I really enjoyed was Robin Williams, and I remember being a juvenile kid, you know, one of the one of the things that impressed me the most was this thing. I guess it was probably HBO then too. Was the way he would riff off the audience. You know, he would just interact with the audience, and he was just so quick on his feet. In Japanese, they say the movement of his brain turned quickly. So, kaiten ga hayai, the revolutions turn quickly. Like, and this is ridiculous, but he grabbed someone's camera out of the audience and put it down his pants and opened up his pants. He had these baggy pants he used to wear with suspenders, and he said, "Oh, it's an anaconda," you know, just really juvenile stuff like that. But you know, looking back, of course, that's not that funny. But the fact that he would just come up with that stuff off the top of his head was amazing to me. A lot of comedians, you know, like George Carlin, they hone their skills, but there are a few who can really riff off the audience, and he was one of those. Now, I'm such a fan of the art that about 15 years ago, when I was still single, I think my wife and I, my then girlfriend and I were on a break, but I went to LA. I went to LA by myself. I rented a car. And by myself, I visited a bunch of stand-up comedy places, you know. I would just go in by myself, sit like some kind of creep by myself and enjoy these comedy shows. And I think I saw, I've seen a few that off the top of my head, I don't remember their names, but I saw quite a few, famous comedians. But one of the ones that I saw that I'd never seen before in public was Bob Saget. Saget, sorry. that's how, before I started this, I was saying, don't say Bob Saget. It's not Bob Saget. It looks like Bob Saget, but it's actually Bob Saget. I never watched him on Full House, so I'd watched him on that home video show before a little bit, but I wasn't especially impressed. But I saw him do stand-up comedy, and he riffed with the crowd. Anything the crowd threw at him, he turned into a hilarious joke. He was great. He was just so funny. And of all the comedians I saw on that tour of comedy places, comedy shops, stand-up comedy, Comedy Cellar, all those places I went. I can't remember the names anymore, and I don't even know if they're around anymore. I wonder how many of those places were closed due to COVID. I have no idea. Anyway, he was so amazingly funny, and I'm not a big I want your autograph kind of guy. I kind of like to give famous people their space. And I'm not, I don't really fawn over anyone famous. But after the show, I went over, and he was hanging around afterwards and signing autographs and talking to some people. And he was busy signing something, his autograph, I guess, or a phone number or something. And I called out to him. I said, I've never seen your stand-up before, but I got to say, that was amazing. You were just so quick on your feet. You reminded me of Robin Williams. I mean, everything they threw at you, you just turned into a joke. You're just one of the fastest comedians I've ever seen. And he was signing, and when I said the Robin Williams comparison, he paused, he stopped, and he looked over to see who had said that, because he wasn't looking at me at all. And I remember I was struck because I didn't expect to get his attention at all. I was just, because a whole bunch of people were there. And he said, oh, yeah, hey, that's such a, he was so happy with the compliment. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it's like, that's such a nice thing to say, or anyway, he was happy. He was happy. I don't remember. It was 15 years ago or so. He must have been 50, must have been about my age, then. Yeah, or younger. But he was really happy, and his eyes lit up, and he said, and we shook hands. He just shook my hand as a thank you, like he was thanking me for complimenting him and telling him that he was as fast as Robin Williams. Because I got to tell you, he was as fast as Robin Williams. Although I've never seen Robin Williams live, but I mean, from the stand-up that I've seen on his specials, he seemed to really be really, really quick on his feet. And you've seen interviews with him, But he struck me as just being and I gotta say, I agree. His stand-up is so filthy. It's so horrible, but so funny that it was perfect for me. I'm the kind of guy who enjoys the camera and down the pants kind of joke. And I really enjoyed it. So of course, when he died a couple of days, I mean, I'm not gonna pretend I was like, grief-stricken or anything. I'd only seen him once, and I wasn't a huge fan, but I'd always been impressed, by him. And ever since I saw him live, I always, if I saw him appear on something, I would pause and check it out. I didn't go back and see Full House at all. I wasn't that impressed. I mean, it's a different thing, Like if you like someone doing one thing, you don't really want to see him do something else that you're not interested in. Like, I didn't want to see him do sitcoms. I wanted to see him do stand-up. And he did a great job doing stand-up. And it's a shame he died. The initial news reports, by the time this comes out, maybe those have changed, but the initial news reports say that there weren't drugs involved or anything, or he wasn't murdered or anything, but which is, it's good to know. I saw that Robin Williams' daughter came out and said, give the family some space and don't bombard them on social media and DM them or anything. So this is not any attempt to do that. I just wanted to share a happy moment that I have and I'm, you know, he was only 65. It's only about 10 years older than I am. So, yeah, man, it goes quick, you know. And apparently he had a great show. From what I hear of the newspaper articles, he did a great show. He was happy that the audience still loved him so much and still enjoyed his show. And I think he wrote somebody, or he tweeted that out or something, and then he just died, you know. I didn't talk about this on this channel before, but there was another really happy-go-lucky guy that died actually just about a month ago here in Nagoya, named Rudy. And he was always happy and smiling, but the thing is, he went quick, you know. I mean nobody expected it, just like this guy. Apparently nobody thought Bob Saget was gonna... Jesus Christ. I blame the strong zero. Nobody thought that Bob Saget was gonna die either, but... yeah, it's a shame, man. I mean, so many of our greats have died, and of course I'm a little bit older than most of you, so, but you know, according to my YouTube stats, not really that much older. But when Rudy died, I PM'd one of our mutual friends, who I kind of had fallen out of touch with, and I told him, hey, you know, Rudy died, you know. And he said, oh, yeah, that's too bad, but that's going to happen a lot more now as we get older. Which is not a really happy thought, but yeah, it's true. You know, with the old adage, you never know when you're going to go. So enjoy what you got, what you're doing, because, you know, tomorrow you could be like Bob Saget and Bob Saget as well, both of them. And Rudy. So many people, yeah, as I've gotten older, so many people. We're losing. Robin Williams and George Carlin, of course, but he was old as hell. And I'm glad he stuck around as long as he did. But Robin Williams, too young, and Bob Saget also. But if you never got to see him do his live, I don't even know if you can find it online. There must be somebody who uploaded at least a pirate copy of his stuff online, but definitely check him out. He's funny as hell. Nothing like that Full House persona or the Funniest Home Videos persona. And a really nice guy. Yeah, I did see. I'll tell you one comedian that I never really liked that much. To be honest, just so you know that I'm being sincere here. No, I mean Norm Macdonald. I never found his humor that. You know what? It was, I felt like he was just kind of a mean. I mean, a lot of his stuff was funny, but a lot of it was just, okay, we get it. You're going to tell us an unfunny joke over and over because it's funny to you to say something unfunny for a long time. But I never found a lot of his stuff personally funny to me, you know. A lot of people say he was great, but I did see today that even he, who I never liked very much, came out and honored Bob Saget a while back and said that he had nothing. He hates all comedians and anyone who does better than he does, but he had nothing to say about Bob Saget. He was just a great guy, and you know, you don't know if any of this is true. Maybe it's all a facade. Maybe it's all just a clever, you know, just what do they call that? Maybe they cleverly created this facade that we all bought into, and maybe it's just what we want to believe. But I hope it's true. I hope he was really a sincerely nice guy. And I tell you that I'm pretty sure that if you ever saw his live stand-up, it was not the rehearsed genius level that George Carlin was, but it was always new. And maybe that's the best that we can hope for. I don't think most of us will ever be the George Carlin in our department, but we can always, you know, strive to be fresh and new. I don't know. I'm trying to make get something out of this, you know, learn something from this, but yeah, maybe that's all we can hope for, huh? Can't be geniuses, but we can always try to be fresh and new. Anyway, for Bob Saget and his brother Bob Saget as well. Oh, what do you do? Turn this off here. Hope this worked.